Ostrom is rocking it. I think what, 5 listings?
4 pendings right
4
now.
pendings right now, Emily, if you're honored, wherever you are.
I know that. You may have more.
Yeah.
I had a closing yesterday for my that were first time home buyers.
Ashley, that's a win. Anyone else for a win? Let's start off.
Okay,
with
where's your
something
check? I gotta get your check.
It's in Twist, so it's gonna take a minute because Okanagan County loves
A
to
while to
like.
get over here.
Yeah, it goes to Spokane and then here.
That's good. Any other wins?
Wow, that's-
Win, come on.
Yeah, I got one on Saturday. Penny.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear.
And
That's
we got 2 little, I've sound, I can just hear everybody talking. On my end, no sound. Let's see, it's it's
Right at my end.
good here. Can you hear us now?
Can you hear us? Am I speaking loud enough?
All right, thumbs
I
up
gonna-
if you can hear us, because on our end, there's no reason that you shouldn't be able to.
is helping Marcia.
Oh, good. Marsha, are you good?
Thumbs up.
Okay.
Thumbs up, nice.
Cool. Love that. Nice job, Estella. Anyways, we were just saying happy, good win stuff and pendings and closings and all the things.
Yeah, we were just like wins. What have our wins been? I have a big win, or we have a big win here at KW. A huge win. Huge. Oh, we got it up? You want to hear it?
This is fun.
Okay, our vendor program. We have an exclusive vendor that just signed with us. That means thousands of dollars for KW.
Yeah.
Blue Water Homes is now an exclusive vendor, and what that means is we're going to be promoting them. One of the things we're going to be doing, I'll just give you a little hint, you'll hear about it as we go. One of the things we're going to be doing with them is, for the last 3 years, all of the lots we sold, we're going to be giving you a call if you've sold any lots. I'm going to ask you to call your buyers and to ask them if they already have a builder. And if they don't, we might make that connection for them. That's one of the things that we're going to do. This is like quality class construction.
A great way to connect with your people.
And a fabulous way to go back 3 years and connect with your people or anybody that's coming forward. So let us know. We have a ton of information. You're going to hear more about it because we're going to be giving you a call if you sold any land. I think you have, right? Sold some land? I know I've sold a heck of a lot. They're out of Chelan, but they work everywhere. They also do commercial, right? So.
And remodels.
And remodels, so we're very, very excited to have them. And I have a little, now, the gentleman that we're working with, Stephen Johnson, who is extraordinary. Ben is the owner. Steve Johnson is the gentleman that we're actually going to connect with. And he actually took a trip to Cancun today with his family, but we did get him on Zoom. So we'd like to introduce you to him. Say hi to Stephen Johnson.
Oh,
Yeah.
video. Okay, so he's not live.
Yeah, he's not
Well,
live.
hello,
He's
Keller
video.
Williams,
Right now.
NCW. This is Stephen Johnson, and I'm so excited to, I guess, join your roundup today. My company, Blue Water Homes, is a local custom home builder throughout North Central Washington, from Lake Chelan all the way to Leavenworth and kind of in between and beyond that as well. And recently, we've entered into a partnership with KWNCW to be the exclusive home builder for KW here locally, and wanted to take a moment to kind of share a little bit about Blue Water and where we come from, what we're looking to do, how we can help you, how you can help us. And then I will be at some events and some things to come, and would love ultimately to meet in person at the Wenatchee office or up at my office in Chelan and have lunch, coffee, or simply have a telephone conversation to kind of learn more about your story, share about our story, and really grow a strong partnership so that we can be a resource any single time that you've sold property and you're trying to help your client get connected with the right custom home builder, or you've helped somebody buy a home and you know that they need or want to have an extensive remodel. We can be a great resource. So a quick history of who we are and where we came from. As I mentioned before, Blue Water is based out of the Lake Chelan area. We have an office right kind of downtown Chelan. And we've been building custom homes in Chelan for a little over 3 years. Now, our parent company is actually a company called Avara Construction out of Redmond, Washington. And for over a decade, we've done kind of high-end commercial work, Class A, downtown Seattle, downtown Bellevue, high-rise types of tenant improvements. We've done mixed-use buildings, hospitals, ground up like restaurants and wineries, and really have a wealth of experience in the commercial world. And in that commercial world, it's a lot of really tight deadlines, really tight budgets, having to be extremely detailed and efficient. And a couple of years ago, we were invited to enter into the home building segment in North Central Washington. And honestly, we had resisted for a couple of years. We had enough kind of business on the other side of the mountains where we felt that we wanted to have our sole focus in the commercial world. But COVID changed things and really allowed us to kind of spread our wings. The owner of the company who I work with, Ben Petter, opened up a residential division to support some developers that were in Chelan, who had really tried to entice us to take kind of the same level of excellence and quality that we provide in the commercial world and deploy that in the residential world. Since that time, we've done about 20 homes, mainly around Lake Chelan. But now we've expanded that footprint all the way down the Columbia into Leavenworth with a couple projects now. And really my job is let's see, what am I? I'm the Vice President of Business Development is my official title. And really that's just about meeting people, building connections, talking with folks, realtors, mortgage brokers, architects, learning about their business, how we can support them and sharing how they can support us. So, Blue Water Homes really entered the marketplace because we really wanted to solve a number of problems that people run into in the custom home building world. If you have friends, if you've built a home yourself, if you have friends or clients that you've assisted in the building process, you know that there's a lot of challenges, a lot of stigmas in that environment. And our whole goal is to deliver a high level of communication to our clients so that we can be on time and on budget and build beautiful homes. So far, our track record has been excellent. The clients that we build relationships with, we have lasting relationships from the beginning through the end and beyond, because it's all too common for people to be really disenfranchised or frustrated because there's massive budget overruns, timelines get extended, the communication breaks down, and homeowners are often left kind of in the dark. And with Blue Water, we want to take care of your client, right? The simple fact that KW is willing to refer us to your clients that you've helped buy property, for instance, in the past or present or in the near future, the fact that you would recommend Blue Water Homes as a reputable builder in the area, that you feel confident that we are going to take that same level of care that you provide your clients on a daily basis, it means so much to us. And we want to value, honor, and cherish the relationship that you already have and strengthen that, because the recommendation when you say that they should work with Blue Water or suggest that they could, that we do our absolute best to preserve that relationship. And so a couple of things about our company, we are, like I said, looking to build homes from Leavenworth to Chelan and beyond. And we would always be willing to look an opportunity to come alongside early in the process, or meaning like somebody's looking to buy property and they're trying to figure out what's maybe they need a builder's perspective to help close that deal, or that you've already closed the deal and now it's kind of the phase 2 of like, how do I talk to an architect, or where do I find a builder, or do I find a builder first and an architect first? All of those kind of questions we can be a great resource to. Again, these are long lasting relationships. They're not a quick process. And so the earlier that we can be involved in that, the sooner that we can have a conversation with somebody to kind of start painting a picture of what the future process looks like as far as the style of home, the site of the home, little different conversations about fixtures and features and materials and all of the things that go into making a beautiful home. We kind of go above and beyond on the communication side of things so that people feel comfortable. It's one of the largest investments that they're ever going to make in their life. And we want to really take care of that because it's people's livelihoods. And there's too many stories that people can share, probably that people watching this video can relate to, where somebody they didn't get the house they wanted to, or the cost of the house grew exponentially from what they initially thought it was going to be, and there's a lot of confrontation and friction in that relationship. And our whole mission is to be so detailed on the pre-construction process where we know to the penny what the project's going to cost. We do what's called a stipulated sum contract. So we are willing to put a final number on a contract instead of what is commonly referred as cost plus, right? The job costs what the job costs plus a little extra. And that works for some people, but in our world, we like to give people a hard number of what the job's going to cost. And if there's any additions, like people make changes, they make requests, change order requests, we document all of that in a database called Builder Trend. And every one of our clients, as an example, gets access and a login to Builder Trend. So even if they live on the other side of the mountains, they can see weekly updates and pictures of the construction process. They can get emails about change order requests or information that we need. And it's all logged in database or logged in our database so that there's complete transparency, right? So people know exactly what's happening, when it's happening, what's next on the project schedule. Do they need to make decisions on certain products or features so that we can keep the process and the home moving along? Are all components and just part of the service that we bring our clients. So again, it comes down to people wanting, they have a budget, they have a timeline, they have a need for communication, and those three factors we take extremely seriously. And again, so grateful for the opportunity to partner with Keller Williams and serve this North Central Washington community. We would love, as I said in the beginning of the call, I would love to have the opportunity to meet one-on-one, to either talk on the phone, to have a Zoom, grab coffee, grab lunch over the next couple of months. We anticipate being in a long-term partnership, and we want to be really great partners to each and every one of the agents, and would love for you to understand more about what we do and how we do it, and again, how we can support each other. There's some events and things that I'll be at in the near future, so look forward to meeting you and developing and building a relationship, and appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today.
Because we worked pretty hard on that one, and Ashley, great job in getting our exclusive vendor. Our second exclusive vendor, we have Prime Lending, and we also have this one, so that's awesome. He will be, you've heard about the clinic that Fletcher's going to be doing, right, on the 17th and 18th. Blue Water Homes will be a sponsor of that event, and they're going to be providing a beautiful lunch for us on both days. So he is going to be here. Stephen will be in person on Saturday of that weekend, and he'll be talking personally to all of us about a little bit more about what he does and giving out information, and you can set up meetings with him when you are available, or if you're interested, or if you have some interest, or you have a client that would like more information. I'm just trying to connect them right now, right? We are trying to do our best to connect them as much as possibly can. So next, any other questions on that? Great job, Ashley. I love it. So Fletcher, you guys, has anyone received a call from Fletcher or from Amanda yet? Okay, so she started last week making calls to everyone just to talk about this clinic. And whoever she doesn't reach, you're going to get a personal call from Fletcher and to invite you to this clinic. And again, this clinic, it's for you. It's for our agents.
It's free.
It's free. You get a wonderful lunch, but more than that, we're going into a deep dive. I'm concerned about some of our agents that haven't done some business over the last year, 6 months to a year. And so, if you are producing and you're in, that's fantastic, but as you all know, there's some kind of, right now, it's not easy, and it hasn't been easy over the last 4 months, right? It's been actually pretty challenging for everybody in the real estate market. But we want to be the first ones to provide our agents with opportunity to take kind of an in-depth look at potentially why we're, where you are individually. And Fletcher's going to bring out the best in you, the absolute best in all of us, to make sure that we understand where it is that we're getting our resistance actually. Where is our resistance coming from? And it could be a myriad of places, but where is that? And so it is going to be a personal deep dive. We're doing this for you, for all of us. I know I'm going to be there, but this is something very special, this clinic. And I hope to see everyone there. Everybody, every one of our agents should be at this clinic. Because I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna make a difference in your life. All over, not just in real estate. It's gonna make a difference, a big difference. So I'm really excited that we're able to do this. So 17th and 18th at 8:30 to 5:30, lunch will be served, and we'll be doing a deep dive, helping our agents move forward in your book of business and wherever else you need help. Highly recommend it. Also, I will tell you this. I had an interview with him on NCW Life last week. I'll be sending that out so you can check it out, promoting KW and everything we're doing here. So that's very exciting as well. Okay, next. Yeah. Any questions on that? Yes.
It's here.
Yes, it's right here.
And if you can only make one day, is it still?
Come on. Yes, please go. If you can only make one day, but I bet we'd be saying, shoot, you missed the other one.
Who is planning on going?
Is anyone planning on going? Yeah. Okay, good,
Sweet.
good.
Love that.
Awesome, thank
Well,
you.
we couldn't have a Michael today, but we have a Sydney instead, which we love having a Sydney. So, oh, no, we have
No,
Julie
Julie,
first. Oh,
Julie's up
look at me
first.
just messing up. I have a headache.
Well, we're both wearing like almost the same.
Yeah,
thing on top.
It's easy to confuse us.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, when Ashley has a headache, she messes up things sometimes.
That's
So
okay.
forgive me.
No problem. Hello. I know most of you, but some of you I don't know yet. I'm Julie. So I've been at this office since we opened, 2016-ish? 18? Okay. No,
It feels like so longer.
but I've been kind of gone during the COVID season because I had other stuff happening in my life, but I'm back and I'm looking forward to getting to know all of you guys. So I've been in the business for 21 years and I've seen this little downward trend before a few times. And it's, for some of you new agents, it's probably like, oh crap, like, this is not fun. And I agree. So how many of you guys are doing lead gen right now? Like regularly? How many of you guys like it? Wonderful question. Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing. It's not fun, but I could say like, I think maybe the last 2 downturns, the thing that saved my business was showing up to the office. And that's why I'm back in the office. Cause it's like, you show up and, other warriors are in the office with you and you're seeing them do the things that you're supposed to do, that you're going to get distracted, not do at home when you're doing laundry and cooking or whatever. And so I'm going to be here and I'm going to be practicing scripts and actually calling lead generation on Mondays and Wednesdays from 9 to 11. And the reason we're going to do 9 to 11 is because as they refer to it as the big rocks. You guys ever seen that video? It's pretty powerful. You get the big rocks done first, then the little stuff seems to fall into place easier in your day. So we're going to take care of the big stuff in the morning. What it's going to look like is I think we're going to practice for like 15 minutes on each other, do a little bit of role play, and then dive in encourage each other and talk about maybe like what didn't work, what did work. And so we're just gonna fail together at full speed, but it's gonna be fun. And,
Mhm.
you know, we're gonna be in it together.
Yeah,
We do.
yeah.
We're just gonna go in there and make mistakes and have a blast.
I wanna hear a bunch of yelling when you get appointments.
So who's interested in coming?
Everybody can should be a.
Yeah.
How come you guys aren't interested?
So you can imagine, right? Just going over all the scripts, because you're gonna have scripts and you're gonna be talking about them and different ways of maybe approaching it, right? And then help with the community, help with all of the agents here, right? Oh, I could have said that. Like, how many of you felt it was like really valuable what prime lending did? Right?
That was great.
That was fantastic. And that was like, what, 1 hour of just like, oh, we could have said that, or did you think about that? And, we've got pros in the room. So, the input from everyone is extraordinary, right? It just helps you. And it just gives you like great information that you may not have ever thought of, right? So this is going to be an opportunity to get some kind of energy going around lead gen,
Yes,
right?
that's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
We'll make it
And
fun.
Leslie gave you some clapping hands, so Leslie's down. Yeah, Marshall clapping hands now.
You there, Leslie?
Sweet, it's gonna be good. So.
Okay, so you've asked for it. Agents have said, well, in Seattle and Spokane, they have that every morning, 9 to 11. Well, we're going to start Monday and Wednesday. And so even if one person shows up, we're doing it. We're going. We're going to practice our scripts. You get the extraordinary opportunity to work with Julie one-on-one. If you're one-on-one, that's how we're starting. But we're going to do scripts, and we're going to meet together as a team, right? As agents, as a team, and get some energy going around, getting some people, getting production going, right? Selling, buying, whatever it is. So thank you, Julie, for taking on that role. I'm so thrilled to have an expert in the field running this. So thank you very much, Julie. Appreciate that. Okay, and we have some great information from Sydney Groen on listing tips.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So I will say, on one hand, I am still like very new to the business in general, but I do a lot of training on listings with the 72 sold program, and like I feel like I've gained a lot from that and just what's been working on listings in our area. And so I'll start with, so I'm supposed to keep this at 10 minutes, so we'll see how we do. I'll do my best. I want to deep dive on being the expert on your listings. You should be the person who knows the property best besides the seller, but like nobody should know the property better than you besides the seller. So really deep diving. This is my little cheat sheet that I bring to my listing presentations. And I do like a meticulosity walkthrough. So, we sit down, hey, Kristen, can you give me a tour of your home? And I'm like writing like crazy as we're going, like, okay, the furnace is, then when have you ever had this replaced? Like really getting those details from the very beginning. For one thing, it helps me really understand like, okay, like, is the roof going to need repair? Like all those things that affect value for when we're dialing in, pricing. And the other, it kind of impresses the seller, like, wow, this person's really detail oriented, like I haven't thought about the water heater in 7 years since I replaced it last, So that side, is great. And then where I'm going with this is then when people call you with questions, you are that helpful person. How many times is a buyer just kind of like, on a property because they're not getting their questions answered, and people need clarity to make good decisions. So if you're wishy-washy on your answers to their questions, they're going to move on to something else, most likely, so that includes, when was the roof replaced? Okay, it's on a septic. Are you having the septic inspected beforehand? How many bedrooms for the septic? The well, is it a shared well? What's the gallons per minute? How often is it tested for, E. coli and all of that? There's really specific things you can get in everything, structural, zoning, what are the other things that are allowed to happen on the property? What could the neighbors look like down the road? what about the neighbors? Are they nice people? Are they kind of a pain in the butt? Do they have a really ugly yard? You know, is it an old lady? You know, all the things, like, if you gotta know the neighbors and like the neighborhood feel. You know, yeah, all those things. What else about knowing the listing? Last time on our little listing tips, we talked about the comps for the listing. So you should know the comps for the listing, like the back of your hand too. Anything that comes on the market that's similar or that a buyer for your property, you know, might be considering, you need to know that. You need to go tour it as soon as you can. So you know, so when the buyer's agent or a buyer talks to you about it, you have that for reference. And that's how, you know, you just work the best for your seller. So all of that, you know, no matter what you're doing for the rest of your marketing, you should know the property like the back of your hand, as much detail as you can get in. Of course, there's challenges sometimes with that. I had a place in Peshastin that was an estate sale. It was really hard to get information from that, you know, so there's just challenges, but just do the best you can. We are committed to excellence in this office. And so every time, you know, you're sitting to do a listing, how can I know this better than, you know, just the average agent? You know, we just need to be a little bit better consistently to make a really big difference. Okay, so again, you should know it. What was my question? So this is leading into who in here has had listings? Okay. Do you attend the showings of your listings? Has anybody? Okay, we've got a few. Great. So what are some pros and cons of attending your listings showings with their buyer agent? Pros and cons of that. Anybody?
Sometimes you would know more than the buyer's agent or
Okay.
maybe outshine them.
You better know more than the buyer agent.
I mean, you like outshine them in terms of, well, you know the knowledge, right? You have the knowledge, but you may, you know, there's opportunity to outshine them, which could be a conflict for the
So
buyer.
you're saying this is a pro or a con?
It could be a con.
Okay,
I
yeah.
think it's a con.
Mhm. I think that's the biggest con that I see is as a listing agent, if you're there, the buyer's agent can feel threatened.
Yes.
Which I have a way of, you know, that I use to try to mitigate that as much as possible. Any other pros or cons?
Anna Marie says you can answer questions about the home.
Exactly, that's a huge, huge pro.
Yeah.
Anybody else, any input?
Well, the buyers might not feel 100% comfortable discussing how they feel about it or, you know,
Absolutely, yes.
staying longer.
Yep, another big con, definitely. Anybody else? You may have the information that buyer's agent didn't know, build a relationship with the other agent. A really great point, yeah. Having that how many of you guys have sold a property on buyer or listing side and had no phone communication with the other agent or let alone face to face? Like,
Yeah.
how many times is just text and email with that other agent? It's easy to
Just
get.
go recruit that other agent.
Well, yeah, no way in, you know, heck, you're not gonna, yeah, if it's just been digital communication back and forth, that's really hard to build a relationship. So, the cons, the major ones, you know, that we try to mitigate is buyer not feeling comfortable, like that they can, you know, talk openly or feel comfortable in the space to explore it, and the buyer's agent feeling threatened. So the way I mitigate that is, you know, I welcome them. Hey, you know, thank you so much for showing this home. Let me point out just a couple things, you know, if you're comfortable, I can just show them to you in the house, or I can just tell you, and then you guys go inside, you know, take all the time you want to see the house, and I'm just outside. If you have any questions, I'll either sit in my car, you know, if it's like a property that they want to walk around, or just like on a porch in a chair, if there's a chair, that kind of thing. So to me, that's like the best of both worlds. Like, I'm there to answer the questions, to point out some of the key things. But I'm not like in their business. And like, I've made it really clear to the buyer's agent, like, oh, I'm not here to like, you know, step on your toes or, you know, tell you how to do your job. Like, I'm just here.
So what do you do with are you contacting the buyer's agent and saying, hey, I'm gonna be there if you have any questions? And then how many of them have said, no, you don't need to be there, I don't want you there?
Sure. So there is a form in the MLS that, you know, requires you to be there if the seller wants you to. And I think it is so in the seller's best interest that I, as a listing agent, am there. I show them, you know, my client when I'm sitting down, hey, like, I'm gonna be the one who's gonna know it best. Like the reasons why it's good for you as the seller, if I'm there, I get immediate feedback from that buyer, whether we're like good on the market, what's our positioning on the market? Are we too high? Are we too low? Like, what are the things people are liking about the house, disliking about the house? So seller, that's why I want to be there. Also, I'm able to handle objections and questions, and I can just position the house and the property really well compared to the market because of the talking points. Point out things that they may not know, that nobody would know just walking through a house. And that's a side note too, but that's another conversation I have with sellers during that meticulosity walkthrough is what are some things about this property that nobody would know unless they lived here, and some people are like, oh gosh, like this area of the porch, like when I sit here and drink my morning coffee, the sunrise is just gorgeous. And I just love to do that every day. Or in the fall, the turkeys walk through, this section of the property. So those kind of things, like as a listing agent, you wouldn't even know because you're not like sitting there doing your coffee in the morning kind of things.
So those are great
That's a
questions too.
side
Makes you
note.
Sound like a badass. I don't know, as a agent doing the interview, where it's like, oh dang, they're asking me like,
Yeah, I mean, we
Great
could do like a whole hour-long class on the meticulosity walkthrough, like there's so many different ways to deep dive on this kind of stuff. But so back to my conversation with the seller. Okay, so seller, buyer's agents are gonna push back on that because they just naturally don't like the listing agent being there for the showings, right? So you have to sign this form so that I have no choice to be there for. So here's a form, if there's a crazy exception, we'll talk about it and you can give me like written permission to allow somebody to show it. But once I have that form, Lois, you were the one who asked, right? Okay, so then in the MLS, I do, must schedule appointments. And then I turn off showing time. And then so the agent has to call me directly to schedule an appointment. I say, awesome, Kristen, I'm so glad that you want to show this property. That's great. What kind of schedule are you looking like? Okay, great. That day, perfect. So I will meet you there to provide you access to the property. And I'll stay out of your way. I'm not gonna, walk you through the whole house or anything, but I will be there to provide you access. Sound good? So it's not an option, if they give me any pushback, the sellers, this is their biggest investment. They really want me there. They're very uncomfortable with having anybody, on their property without me there, as their representative. So it's just non-negotiable. Yeah.
Do you do that all the time?
Most of the time. Yeah, most of the time. Mhm.
It's a great commitment.
What's that?
what would be an exception to that?
An exception to that, so I've got like my listing like packages thing. If somebody's like, nope, I don't care, I just want the house sold and like, I'm not trying to maximize, I'm just trying to like whatever, and they're not willing to compensate me, because that is a big time commitment. I have to be compensated pretty well for that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not doing that for 2% or 1.5%.
Sure.
Like I've got my minimum of what I think my time is worth that I'm willing to like go sit at a house for hours on ends, which is often the case, for these in-person showings. Yeah.
That's definitely above and beyond.
And it makes a really big difference, getting that immediate feedback, seeing the buyers, because getting feedback from the buyer's agent, you're like, first of all, it's like playing telephone, like, oh, the buyer thought this, and also like, how many times are you getting it? So it's so watered down and delayed, it's not even useful, like to get like, and like the showing time, like automatic feedback is like 5 questions. It's like, what do you think of price? How is it? Oh, it's excellent. They may be interested, like, I don't know, it's just not that useful of information, like.
I said they have showing time.
Mhm.
Does it ask you, because we get those calls here a lot,
Yeah.
because people put the office phone number instead of their phone number.
Yeah.
I think the default has it to where it automatically selects to do an email, a text, and a phone call.
So you as an agent, if
But-
you're using it, you have to tell it a different number.
Yeah, you have to go in and there's ways too, where you could just have it be a text, or like I just have it text me, and then you can also set it up to where your sellers, well, not in this case, but I mean, your sellers can approve stuff too. But,
I'm just curious how that
is there a way when the phone call comes in, we know what agent the phone call's coming from?
Well, it says the listing,
Yeah.
so you have to look up the listing address.
Yeah, then I can find out what agent it is, and then I can just tell them how to do it. So, yeah,
Okay.
I mean, if we get those a lot, that's a downer.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
We used to, I don't answer the phone anymore, so I don't know.
Well, Vanessa gives it to me and then I call the agent.
Oh, gotcha. So yeah, I can make a
That's
little
how we
video on how to fix it,
process right now.
so.
Yeah, I didn't know. I think that all listing agents would be there for showings. It's better for the buyer, it's better for the seller, it's better for the agent relationship, you know, like,
Yeah.
I would love for like North Central Washington for that to be the norm. You know, and in an age where commission is being, you know, questioned all the time, it's really showing your worth, like, hey, I'm here all the time, I'm protecting your property, I'm answering all the questions, I am doing my best to sell your home, you know, to the seller. Yeah. What else was I gonna say? I mean, I guess we're probably good on time. I could keep yapping at you guys if you want. Oh, I was gonna go over the 7-step showing process that I follow. Do you guys want to hear that? Do we have time?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's good.
Yeah.
And would you also be able, are you gonna share that checklist?
I can. Yeah, it's just something I made on Word.
That would be.
Yeah,
That'd be valuable.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, it's always mood adjusting too, but it's basically like the info sheet broken down into a 1-pager so that I can quickly like check through it as I'm walking through a house.
If you could send it to me, then I could just put it. in
Because what I
my
found
notes.
is like, if I just take a notepad, I cannot read my writing at all when I'm reading. That's easy. I remember it really quick. Or if I don't like type it up right away when it's fresh, yeah. Okay, so the 7-step showing process I follow when I'm doing my full service 72 sold style listing marketing program, you know. The first step is humanizing the sellers. So when the buyer comes, you know, oh, so glad you're here. Let me tell you a little bit about the sellers. For one thing, buyers are always curious, right? Why are they selling? What's going on? You know, are they like just tired or whatever? Like they don't like the neighborhood. So knowing why they're selling kind of helps alleviate some of their worries to start with. And also psychologically, if they're thinking of the seller as a real person and not just like an adversary, they're gonna be easier to negotiate with and easier to find a win-win for everybody. And I always check with the seller what they're comfortable with me sharing about them, you know, so I make sure that I'm not sharing anything that they wouldn't want out there. You know, I kind of make my list, hey, this is what I want to share with the buyers when they come see your house. Are you fine with that? Any changes you want to make? So that's step 1, is humanizing the sellers to the buyer. Step 2 is explaining the exact reason why they're selling. Oh, they're moving to be closer, you know, they're downsizing. Oh, they had another kid, they need a bigger house. Whatever the reason is, I'm gonna share that. Of course, there's ways, you know, if it is like, oh, this house, like, I don't know, what's like a reason why the house would be the reason for them selling.
Parents.
Haunted.
Someone died in it, yeah.
Yeah, somebody died in it and they just can't be there anymore. Yeah. So I would probably say, you know, life's just gone in a different, you know, direction for them. I would like make that so it wasn't so abrupt. Yeah, there's ways to present things that are gonna be okay.
Oh, this is the room that they died in? Oh.
Quick look. Do you have to disclose if somebody died in the house? Pop quiz. Do you have to
No.
disclose? That's right.
If it was a murder, you do,
Really?
from what I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah, if it's a murder house,
It is.
that's
Oh
the
my
first sale
God.
after the murder.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's the second sale, you can keep it going.
Is Marshawn, will you fact check us? Murder house? Marsha? Is that a yes? So if it was a murder?
You're a little bit muted, but you could let us know when you.
Okay, anyway, I think that's a yes. I think, so Kyle's right. So if it's a murder, you do have to disclose that in the seller's disclosure. There's not a box for that though.
I mean, that
so-
makes sense. You would think we would
That's
need
another
to.
one.
That's the other, that other section, man, it really captures everything.
Crazy.
Okay, so step 3 is mention that is the reason why it's priced so fairly. So buyers, hey, you know, yep, that's the sellers, and then this is why they're selling. They're moving across town to be closer to their grandkids, and that's why they priced it so fairly, you know, compared to the comps that are available, because they're just so excited to get to their next house and be close to the grandkids. You know, they are valuing, whether or not this is true, you can say it, like they are valuing an ease of sale over getting that last little nickel out of this sale. So just putting that buyer in that mindset of like, oh, these are reasonable people, like they're fair, you know, they're not trying to like test the market and get something really high.
So
ridiculous.
you've already told them how to think.
Yeah, you're kind of getting them down that funnel of like how to like, oh, these are reasonable sellers and that's a reasonable, you know, fair price for the house.
I didn't have an agent. She didn't meet me in person, but it was kind of the same thing. She told me that and we got it under list, just like last week, because we were flexible. They wanted like possession after closing and, yeah,
So you
so
don't know unless you have that conversation, you know.
conversation.
And those conversations have been better over the phone, which is why I do the showing time request, like I have to have a phone call.
Mhm,
Like that's why I don't do showing time most of the time.
mhm.
So step 4 is validate that fair pricing by referencing 1 or 2 similar comps that the buyer's probably already seen, you know, if they've been looking for a while. So just have whichever ones, you know, in your pocket ready to talk about, like, oh yeah, you know, that one over there, it's less square footage, that one over there, it's a smaller lot, you know, not as much privacy, etc. Step 5 is ask to show the buyers 2 to 3 features that impress you. And this is where if I'm feeling some tension from them, like, oh, they just really want to get in the house and like, get out of here, Sydney, like, I don't want you on my tail. Then I'll just tell them about it. But if they're warm and engaging, which a lot of times they are, you know, buyer's agent too, like once they understand, like, I'm not stepping on your toes, they'll be like, yeah, show us those features. Great. Okay, well, let me show you this master bath. We just remodeled it and like, this is heated and like blah, blah, blah. And then, okay, in the kitchen, like you wouldn't probably miss this, but look at this like pantry. It's like totally hidden, anything like that, a couple of features that are unique, and help increase, you know, perception of value in that home. And then step 6 is talk the peripherals, which is the unobvious benefits of the home. So like oh, if you sit in this spot on the porch and see the sunset, oh, the turkeys, what are some other ones that,
The 2-minute walk to.
the things that are close by, totally, yeah, you can walk into town, you can walk to the park, oh, you're right on the canal trail, like this trail is like great for walking and, you know, walking your dog and that kind of stuff.
Or if there's like, you know, peach trees and apricot.
Yep.
I had an agent doing the
Mhm.
walkthrough with me the other day and she pointed out all the trees in the lilac bush and,
Totally.
yeah.
So. And then step 7 is after, you know, so I'll like show them the features and like, okay, guys, like take your time in here, check out everything. And then they feel like they can have that conversation with their seller or with their agent while I'm not around. I'm gonna wait out front, you know, and then once they are coming through, step 7 is ask, how does this compare to the other homes that you've seen? And that's when we get that immediate feedback. So we can turn around to the seller. If this is my first showing and they're like, oh my gosh, like, what are you thinking? This price is way too high, you know, then I can tell that seller that immediately, be like, I mean, maybe we'll wait for one of their showing to see if just those guys are really picky, but like, this is the feedback we're getting. So those are definitely not our buyer, but you know, just getting that immediate feedback, super important. So that is the 7-step showing process.
Oh my God. She's a pro.
100%.
So can we tell anybody, any of our agents to reach out to you if they require additional information? Anybody have any questions? Moving forward?
When are you doing it?
I don't have one on the calendar yet. We should do one.
We're gonna do one. We're gonna do a mastermind with you. It'll be on the calendar
Teach us all the ways.
all the time. You are amazing. It is. She is, right? So all the things that we don't think about, we're trying to give you as much information in these KW roundups as we can, and that was so valuable. Thank you, Sydney. Really appreciate you. Anybody else? Any input? Anything anybody else would like to say? Otherwise, we will see you next Tuesday, 11 o'clock.
And we have Marcia doing best practices for listings here in a minute, so it kind of ties in.
So
with
listing day.
the whole listing day.
You list your list. Yep. Thank you, everyone. Have a great week.
That's a rough ism.
Yeah. Or maybe other isms. All right, Marcia.
Thanks for coming, everyone.
Oh, really?
So maybe take a peek at that.
I would like to know that.
Yeah, I thought it was on there. I didn't do it.
Okay.
Okay, Marcia, I'm gonna make you the host. You are muted, but that's.
Before you guys get off, I'm doing broker's tour again tomorrow. If anybody wants to ride with me. Broker's tour. Nicole, you coming? Yay! Okay, I'll see you at 9.
Nicole, I'm so excited for Vegas. It's my second time. The second little Vegas trip. Sweet. Yay. Okay,
Let's see if
so give us just a moment and then we will have Marcia time. Woohoo! Water flight is official. Yay. Are you flying out of Wenatchee or Seattle?
Yeah, they are that. For sure. You don't want to know. They're gonna see
Well, if my flight out of Wenatchee gets canceled, which happens sometimes, then I will carpool with one of you peoples. Yeah, we'll have to powwow and see if we're on the same flights together.
Okay, yeah.
That'll be fun.
Oh, I can't.
Yes, yeah. Marcia, let me know when you are ready, and then I will give you.
I know.
So that I think
I think
it's
I think
because I do it a
it's-
lot on land. Because
Yeah.
I find
There you go. Okay, can you hear me now? Apparently not. Ashley? Hello? Can you hear me? Oh, good. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I can
Okay,
hear you. It's just a little quiet, but I can hear you.
okay, let me just turn my volume up. Does that
Yeah.
help any?
That's better.
Okay. 'Cause sounds like I'm yelling. Okay, so the disclosure question just happened to be new on the hotline. So the question is, the seller is involved in a lawsuit where the proceeds from the result of the sale is in question. Does this cloud on title? I know that's not the right terminology. Well, down here, the answer is this second sentence. Material fact, information that substantially adversely affects the value of the property or a party's ability to perform its obligation in a real estate transaction or operates to materially impair or defect the purpose of the transaction. The fact or suspicion that the property or any neighboring property is or was the site of a murder, suicide, or other death, rape, or sex crime, assault or other violent crime, robbery or burglary, illegal drug activity, gang-related activity, political or religious activity, or other act occurrence, or use not adversely affecting the physical condition or the title of the property is not a material fact.
Is that not a material fact?
So
That is, or a lot of, yeah.
So you don't have to disclose murder?
that's what it's saying right here. And this one was, is brand new.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
It's on everybody's mind then. All the
Okay,
winter houses must be coming on the market.
yeah,
Well, it says illegal drug activity, but if it was like a meth house, like that's something that's.
That would affect the structure.
different.
yes,
That's like an
an
environmental part, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a
exactly.
disclosure, it'd say environmental, and that's a whole
Yeah.
other thing.
Okay, perfect.
Thank
All
you.
right. So this little handout, let me see, let me go to. I just wanted to do this handout and show you, to make sure that you have your listing templates up in, in your transaction desk. So I'm gonna go to my transaction desk and pull it over here and see if I can't be, oh my gosh. I'm gonna impress myself here any second.
And I love that template or the little printout you have. I want that and I love it.
Oh, good, good. I want to go down here. And so I just want to talk real quick about, let me see, and put this down. I just want to talk real quick about setting up your templates for residential listing. And you do it from your transaction desk. Oh, great, I already signed in.
And real quick, this is actually great because I don't know if any of you guys use the templates that the office supplies. But I am at the point of figuring out which login we need to use to update those because it does have it needs some of the updated forms that started in January. So, but doing your own template is wonderful because then you can click all the boxes, and type in stuff, and it's gorgeous. So.
Okay, so when you go to your transaction desk, it's going to show all the list or there's nothing there if it's brand new. And if that's the case, this is real easy to set these up. So here you have transaction and you either have a checklist or a transaction template. You click on that one and then you're going to add. And it is whatever name, like I have my own, I always show mine, so I know I've already pre-approved them. And this would be a residential listing. And if there's anything special on that, then you can use that. So that's how to set up one. And then when you open up one, like we're doing residential listings, when you open up after you set this up, then you go down to your forms, and then that opens up, like Ashley just said, this form 1A SWF is not available anymore. And so what I just need to do here is just delete it. And then I have these forms right here in my template for my residential listing. Now, there may be some things I don't use, and if I open up a new listing, let's say that they want to have you present for all showings. So you have your listing agreement that will say that in your 7B you need to take a look at. But these are all things that you're going to need. Now, you may not need the lead-based paint disclosure. And so when you pull up a new one, then you literally, in that transaction, then you can pull it up and you can delete the ones that you don't need. But that is how you go back and you change and set up your template. Before I move on, any questions on that?
I guess you mentioned the Form 7B. I noticed that changed in the past where it doesn't have the box to say don't display their phone number anymore. So do
Right.
you actually use it? Because anybody can see their name on like the disclosure and county records.
Yes,
So I
they
actually
can. It just slows them down.
Yeah,
But they're, once in a while, they'll request that it not be listed. And, yeah. So once you set up your template on this, and this kind of goes through each step, then what you do is, let's say you want to do you want to add a new form. And so you go here and you add a form, and then once you add it, then you update it. And before you leave the screen, you need to update it every time. So that whatever your changes are that are there. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. And during this, since there aren't that many, if you would open up your mute and unmute, then just go ahead and just speak whenever you have a question. So now we have, and then too, I also add to my template form 18 and 19, so that when I set up a new contact file in the transaction desk, and if I need to make any modifications to the listings, then I have both those forms available. And then I want to show you what I do to a lot of my forms, so that there are some things that can be filled in. And so every time that you do that, then you just update that and then close that. Okay, now this second part down here is, remember that once you're working with new clients, your first thing that you're probably going to upload is this document right here. And that's the real estate brokerage in Washington pamphlet. And so when you meet your clients and you're going through that first initial meeting for a listing, chances are you're not going to be signing that same time, because you need to go through, get the information, all of that. Now, I do have some upcoming vacant land listings that they canceled last October. So that may be an exception to that particular rule. So all those documents that we had listed below, then let me just see if I can't do the same thing here so that we can see those. Okay, let's do that. Alrighty, so the very first thing here, and this particular handout is just going to remind you when you do a new listing to get your client's initials and dates. And so it's just going to remind you what the forms are, what you need. And I also do this with the county records. And so that when I take the listing, it shows what the other broker is going to be able to see. Right now I have a new listing that's going up, and there's a boundary line adjustment where they move the boundary line for the next lot so that the well would be on this lot, because it's a shared well and it will have a water spigot and an RV hookup to it. So when I go through and we do vacant land next week, then I'll just show you how that worked out. Okay, so the very first one is that one. Make sure that, and for this document, I only put the first page in. Make sure that it has your initials, your client's initials and dates. And let me just see. I just thought of some things that I needed to add to this. So this is really a work in progress, and if any of you have a comment or something else that makes it better, please let me know. And then we can update this. So then the next thing is your sale and exclusive sale and listing agreement. And the majority of the time, they're going to be, that's the one you're going to be using. If you have somebody that has a hesitation and you just want to use well, let's use a non-exclusive and let's use this for 2 weeks so that I could show you the level of customer service that I provide. And then many times then you can just convert that over. But this is the exclusive one. And like right here in red, there are things in here, not all the things in red, but there are things in here that you can fill in advance so that when that document is downloaded, that part of it is already in there. So the name of our company. And then I just want to point out that up here, like line 3 or 4, used to be the expiration date, and they've changed that form and they've cleaned it up. But I just have a reminder that listing term is the same thing as when does this listing expire. You can fill in your name. And I just want to point out that if you do dual agency, there are 2 times when you can get the seller's permission on that. But I would certainly talk about it if you're one that you are very capable of doing both sides, and just get their initials on that. Here is the list date. One of the things in compliance that I find is that a lot of times everything, the information is all there, but it's not initialed by the sellers. And these, of course, are all things that you're going to be talking about. And if you ever have an opportunity to do some role play with Sydney, ask her how she talks about why it's important that they know this, and that she has explained in the past that she wants them to know it and to understand it. And then the rest of it is you go through, and this is where you find out to attend or shall not attend, and make sure those correct boxes are filled in. Another place for the seller. As you go through and explain this, and then here, the seller's signature, their email, and the seller phone number. And why is the seller's phone number and email important? We had a broker that was out of country, and they, Kelly and I had a really hard time finding how to get in touch with him. So this is going to go into your command. So please fill this information out so that if anything, an emergency should happen, then we know how to be able to get in touch with them. You can pre-fill in the Keller Williams, the firm's license number, your email address, your license number, and your cell phone. And if you do that inside the template, then whenever you open up a template for a new listing, then all this information is going to be there. Probably the number one thing when I do compliance is the listing number is not there. And of course, you fill this all out. And if you have any questions on that, you absolutely can ask Ashley or myself. But don't forget that this form 1, which is the residential listing agreement input sheet, it also has a manual. And so for an example, equitable interest, I was just doing some work yesterday with Vanessa, and that came up. And that will be either a yes or no. And what that stands for is I may own like 60% of a building. And so all I want to do is sell my portion of that. And that's what equitable interest is. So if you go and you look in the manual, it will tell you what these things are, and you can decide if you need them or not. And then as you go and the one thing that I need to go back and change is this one right here. If you put no, then the automatic evaluation from Zillow won't come up. And that really makes a difference. Make sure that the seller and the broker sign each page. The second thing that I see most missing is a complete listing address. And that includes the city, state, and zip code. So if you make sure that you just put this in automatically on your sheet, then it just populates on all the other pages. There you can upload your lag number in advance, your broker number, your name, the listing office, and the name of your firm. That you can pre-populate. And then also making sure that all three, the one or two sellers in the broker initial each page as you go through it. And whoops, I didn't get that one, but that is the same as well. And remember the address and the lag number will populate from page 2. And then the seller and the broker initials there. And I just want to comment about here, please make sure that it matches what you have on your listing. It's not really a big deal, but to be determined doesn't work. We'll send it back from compliance. Confidential broker documents. If like for my listing on my real estate or vacant land, there's a gate code and I want the brokers to call me. So most of the time that gate is open, but at least gives me the opportunity to know who's going and when. And then of course, to have it be fully signed, initialed on the bottom. FERPTA, I just had 2 of them this morning in compliance. The box was not checked, and or one of these boxes are not checked. So this is just a reminder that you never ever put their social security number, and you can do that or you can just leave it blank. Just remember that the escrow will fill in, they have their own forms that they do for that. And remember, if you're filling this out with your client and you're uploading, that part right there is blank. And then you fill out the rest of it, and then they check 1 or 2 of those boxes. And then make sure that they date it and sign it. And then the rest of it is blank. And then your seller can initial it when if they bring this down from your associated docs, can initial it when the contract offer comes through. And then right here, you can pre-populate this this form with your listing, your name and the date that you sign it. You know what? Don't pre-populate that, because you'll want to do that with your clients, whether they're the buyer or the seller. Okay. For a listing, it is not mandatory, but if the house is over 1978, if it's built before then a good thing to do is for the seller to know how important this is on a national level. And so you can have your seller's initial and date this as well. Same thing with 22K. is that this is left blank, but you can fill in this and then complete out the utilities that you know that are there with an address and a phone number. And some of you that are very professional include a website or the phone number, which is very thoughtful. You can have them, initial it when they fill this out and look at it, or you can wait until it comes through as a part of the contract. One of the things that Russ likes to be able to use on a listing is a Form 42. And this you can pre-populate with your name, your license number, the name of the company, the real estate firm, and then seller, that the firm's designated broker, branch manager, managing broker, or broker, they all represent the seller. And then this is when you have them fill it out and sign it. And then I believe that before they had a drop down that said seller or buyer. Now, another thing that you can use this form for is that if you go in and you are doing both sides, you will want to have this form then filled out again, so that it shows that the seller and the buyers agree and understand that you are you're a limited dual agent. I'm really going through these fast. If anybody has anything, please just speak up. Then the seller disclosure, it puts in the seller's name and then the address of the property. And then I would really go through the instructions, but most importantly, that if they answer yes to any question with an asterisk, please explain and attach any documents if necessary, if available and not otherwise publicly recorded. So on this, if somebody says they have CCNRs and they're included in the title report, all they have to do is say, see the CCNRs in the title report. They don't have to actually attach it to this. And then make sure that your seller initials each page. Make sure that they fill out that every line has a box checked. And there are some that are asterisk, like says, do you know the age of the house? No, that one may not be an asterisk, but if it's an asterisk, then like this one right here, homeowners association, then you'll want to make sure also the number 4, the structure, if there's any asterisk, you really want to go through that with them. And also environmental. Those are the 2 that are the biggest areas that you really want to make sure that they really answer as completely as possible. Then just a no, not applicable here if the house is newer than 1978. Not, and if it's not a home, encourage them, just say, if it's not a manufacturer or a mobile home, then just do the NA, so that every line has one box checked. And then make sure that they sell it. And then here's the space, and use an extra piece of paper if they need for any additional information. And then here, then you can have them sign it and date it again. So that is the Form 17. We went through all of these except for the Form 18 and Form 19. which I have here. And Form 19, and this was secure, and I couldn't make it like I could make a highlight on it. And so when I attach this, I'll print this out and then I'll scan it, but make sure that you have the area. And like for around here, we have 961-962, that 3-digit code. A lot of times if you just click there, it will populate what that area, according to your, if you used it in the input sheet, and make sure it has the listing number. And then make sure that these, where it says that the designated broker or branch manager signature is required. And this one says seller and DB required. So I mean, I won't go into depth on that particular one. And then the other one is, this is Form 18. If you make any changes, you've already got this in the your list of documents, and then you can just go back into your transaction file, and you have to, if you have a 1A, then you take that, the date that is dated, and that usually, if it doesn't have the date on it, then it's the date that the client signed it, and that's the date of your services agreement. And then you can make all kinds of changes. If you want to have somebody be filling in for you while you're on vacation, or they're going to be sharing the listing. And then again, here is the dual agency, a place where they can, both the sellers can initial both. Let's see, and that's it. So when you're doing a listing like that, and then what I wanted to add onto this paper right here is what I'll add is number 2, when you're, as soon as you're working with new clients, you open up an opportunity in Command, or have your transaction coordinator open the opportunity. And then you upload your documents once they're initialed or signed within 2 days. So your first one might just be that pamphlet. And that might be the only thing that you open up an opportunity, and then you upload that. And then your next might be your exclusive listing agreement, the Form 1A, and then the Form P1, which is the real estate brokerage in Washington pamphlet. Remember, you need to share that with them as well. And then as you complete the others, and as it goes live, then you'll want to put up all the other sheets into Command that are appropriate. And in here, I want to add the preliminary title report, and in your listing input sheet, it will say preliminary title, ordered yes or no. And so when I'm filling out that sheet, I take that second, I stop, and I go to my favorite title escrow person and order it right then while I'm doing the paperwork. And then by the time it goes live, unless it's that day or the next day, then you have a preliminary title report to put up in your associated docs. And then the other thing, I have forgotten it. There's something else here, and I'll remember it and then I'll put it up. So I will update this sheet, and then I will send it with my other handout. Any questions?
Hey, Marcia, what is the best way to get a Form 17 electronically to a seller? That could
You
be
know,
anything.
there is a way that you can do that where they can fill that out in Authentisign. And I have never done that. So I don't know, maybe Ashley knows how to do that.
Done it a few different ways and it always seems to just be a
Yeah, I can show
disaster.
you. My question is, I know we're really limited in how much we can help the seller with the seller disclosure. From my
Uh-huh.
understanding, we cannot at all. So when it comes to where they're needing to explain anything with the asterisks, where's the line there? And
Oh, okay, so there's there's nothing that stops you from talking with them about it, and on the asterisk ones, then I do just pretty much like what I did with you. If you have an asterisk yes answer, and you have more information, like if it has a survey, then just instruct them, go to page 5, reference either the line or the question, which would be like question 1 J or K or whatever one it is, and then say see CNRs in see title report. And just you can talk with them about it. You can also say, I see that you have an asterisk on this question. Tell me a little bit about it. And then you can ask them to tell you about it, and then just say, would you put a brief description about that on page 5, and just reference the question number and letter, so that people will understand. And if there needs to be more information, we can provide that at a later time, but at least this is a preliminary information. Good question. Mhm.
Marcia.
Yes.
Hi. So I'd like to say I tried to do the Form 17 through Authentisign with putting it's way too much work to put in all the boxes in there for them to choose one, or what. It's very difficult. So I literally sent the paper. It just happened to be with my mom, with my last sale, and I had her fill it out, and I just pointed out, hey, okay, I need to make sure that every single checkbox needs to have a mark. So literally take a ruler and line it out and make sure that you go through and check every single box. If you have any questions, call me. I can walk you through it. And then, of course, I just had a Form 17 ready to be used to help her walk through it, I guess. So then, like, she did have questions when there was something to do with the gas, the propane or whatever.
Mhm.
And so then I just directed her, okay, so that is question 4C3 or whatever. So go to, I don't remember what page it is where there's the blank space.
Yeah,
And
page 5.
yeah, physically write 4C3 and then see title report or whatever. So I was able to actually like help her, but not like give her information.
Yeah, not answer the questions.
Yeah, just to have her do it. But that has been the easiest way when someone is not physically here for me to give them the paperwork to fill out. I did just send it to her and she printed it off and then let me know about any questions.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And in the listing process, probably one of the last things that you're going to give them is that Form 17. I mean, as far as you're gonna go through, you make sure all your listing is, information is correct, you're gonna get signatures. And then you're gonna say, okay, so this is a form by the Washington state law that the seller disclose the facts that you know. There was somebody that asked how long, like, if there was a roof repair, how long do we go back? Well, if it was the previous owner that put a new roof on, then you may or may not have that paperwork. But I always like to say, if you answer that question, if you know it, or if you have information, then that's
To your
additional.
knowledge.
Yes, yeah, that's additional information that you can attach to the, like an invoice for your septic or your roof repair or anything like that. That can be like an extra page. And then also remember that if it is a estate sale, then just put in a blank piece of paper into command that says Form 17, estate sale not necessary, or just something to let me know. And then we approve that document, and then everything in command shows a go for when you get ready to get paid.
Hey, Leslie.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm gonna change your life on the whole Authenticign Form 17 thing.
Mhm.
So if you go to the Forms tab and just click the 3 little dots next to the form, there's a send/email button. And there's a box that you select that says allow editing of forms. So when you send it to them, you don't need to like go through all the lines. It just automatically has the boxes clickable. And then they just need to press save. And then on your end, you'll see everything that they did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I learned it from Colton like a year ago. So yeah, it was a pain in the butt before that, but
Yeah,
yeah.
well, I tried to fiddle with it for quite a while. It was like, this is not working. So I literally just emailed it to her and was like, here, print it out. Fill it out.
That's how I did it before, but yeah, you just click the allow editing button and it will just send it to them. And as long as they push
Oh.
save, if they don't push save, then everything disappears.
Oh,
But yeah,
okay, well, that makes it easier.
if you have any issues, let me know.
Awesome, thank you.
That's amazing. I'm gonna try that with my client tomorrow.
It is wonderful. Yeah, let me know if you need help.
I will. I'm certain I will. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Okay.
All righty. Anyone else? All right, you guys, thank you. I hope this was helpful. And I'll add that addition, if I can remember the second thing I was going to order the preliminary title, and then there was one other thing. I'll try and remember that. If not, if you have any corrections or updates or anything like that, let me know, and then I can go in and create a new document.
So this is gonna be sent out to all of us as well.
Say that again.
This is going to be sent out to all of us as well, this form
Oh,
here.
yes, I'll send it to Ashley, and then she'll have it in her meeting notes.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. You guys have a great day.
You too.
Thank you, Marcia.
Bye-bye.
Bye.